It's movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island. 'Cause nothing's better than a motion video.
It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
And I'm Mary Yerina.
and this is It's Movie Time. Now, Mary, I've asked you to review with me The Burial. This is a film that anyone in our audience can see if they have Netflix, right? No, Prime. They have Prime. If they have Prime.
Prime Video.
Yeah, and a chance to see some acting, and it's called The Burial. Give us a little thumbnail on this.
Well, it's actually based on a true story, which has been a theme for us this year, I think.
Yeah.
And it involves...
Inspired by true events.
Inspired
I love that. That's
by
a
true events.
great phrase.
Inspired by true events. It's based on an article that was published in the New Yorker in 1999 by journalist Jonathan Harr. And it focuses on a case that was taken to court in Jackson, Mississippi in the mid-90s, where a long-time multi-generational family business, which was funeral homes in southern Mississippi run by Jeremiah O'Keefe, sued the Lowen Corporation, which was trying to buy them and in a manner put them out of business at the same time. And the focus of the film really is not only on the courtroom, but who he hires to be the lead attorney, which was Willie Gary, played by Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
And Jeremiah O'Keefe is played by Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes, yes. And you can almost tell what the characters are like just by the actors. Jamie Foxx giving himself to approach going over the top. and Tommy Lee Jones underplaying is, I think if you look back, he does that a lot. He does it very well, very slow burn, but his face is of course just a monument and worth seeing. But the two of them together, Fox being the lawyer that Tommy Lee Jones's character, Jerry O'Keefe, hires to go after the big corporation. And Mary, it could be cliched. Is that possible to accuse it of that?
Well, certainly, because it is from an era where there were so many top quality courtroom dramas in the theaters in the 90s. A Few Good Men, The Rainmaker, add any John Grisham
Sure.
title to that.
Yeah.
And so there were a lot of them. And this harkens back to that era in the 1990s, not only in the fact that it took place during that era, but then the film stylistically borrows, I think, a lot from that era. So it can be a little bit cliche, but the other aspect that I really appreciated is it's actually written and directed by an African-American woman. And after this idea of turning this into a film kicked around for 2 decades, she decided to finally produce the film. And so she did take liberties with the facts of the case,
sure.
But she also infused it with a much more strong racial aspect.
Yes.
Because the case did center around a lot of racist practices of the Lowen Corporation. So she brings that more to the fore than probably what the actual courtroom transcripts show
Sure.
about the case, which was about contract law.
Right.
So it's much more dynamic in bringing that aspect to the film.
Yeah. I think she does a brilliant job. And just looking back, I suspect most of this is true. It's just, as you said, she's embellished, including a hotshot attorney supporting the Lowen company. I think it's not the character that they present there, played by Smollett, Journey Smollett.
Yeah.
And very good performance, and very fine and necessary because Jamie Foxx is playing really to the top on his performance as a almost like a Southern preacher who happens to be a lawyer.
Well, I would say, based on watching the real Willie Gary on some YouTube videos.
Oh, yes.
In particular, 3 years ago, he was interviewed for 60 Minutes. Or that's when it was posted, was 3 years ago. He very much has that style. So I don't, and it's a harbinger of, when you see that opening the film, it's a harbinger of his style in the courtroom. It easily translated.
Yeah.
The facts of the case in real life were actually slightly different than what's presented in the film, but equally as racist in terms of the low-end corporations' practices. So you do end up, through the character development and the relationship between Jeremiah O'Keefe and Willie Gary, really rooting for the small guy to win.
Yeah.
So I thought the film did a really great job with that.
Emphasizing the buddy part of this was really good. You would never think it. The plaintiff, or whatever you call him, and his attorney, the two of them bonding, one white, one black. I thought it was a very nice touch, a very good one, without overplaying it. Betts, as the director, very nicely, gently shows how these two men really respect each other. And it's just a dynamic that I hadn't thought of.
And I agree with you. It's a lovely dynamic, and I think it's where Jamie Foxx's character, Willie Gary, you see the softness around him, and that it's not all show in the courtroom or
Yes.
on the pulpit. And in fact, there's some really touching moments that I thought showed yet again what a fine actor Jamie Foxx is, in terms of, this is an over the top, he could ad-lib and really deliver some funny lines. I'm not sure what part was ad-lib, but I'm sure some of it is still in the film. But also there's some really touching aspects of Willie Gary's life, including the relationship with Jeremiah O'Keefe, that are brought to the fore. And you see in Fox's performance just that incredible softness and emotion that's just under the surface that he doesn't quite let go. And it's really effective in terms of underplaying it. And you see the relationship developing between the two men.
Oh, yeah.
It's very well done. And with two Academy Award winning actors, you could hardly go wrong. But I was really impressed with, it reminded me again of what a just fine actor and versatile actor Jamie Foxx is.
Oh, yeah. And I frequently think of him as in life and on the screen as being over the top, as being flamboyant, which he can be, but he has a sense of humor, and the parts that he plays here. I particularly like the court. I'm always a sucker for the courtroom. Give me a few good men and I'm gone. I love it, and so I love any of the histrionics, and he can go as far as he wants, and I'm just enjoying the heck out of it, because really he's not Atticus Finch. Right?
Well, who is?
And I know
Except
who.
Gregory Peck.
I know. And the two of them are almost polar opposite in their approaches to it. But the racial issue is there, and I think Betts does a great job in bringing that to the surface. Because otherwise it could have been just about contract law. The only reason that his character, Jamie Foxx's character, takes that job is what was also happening at the same time. You didn't mention, because it wasn't appropriate necessarily here, but the O.J. Simpson trial.
Yes, is going on at the same time.
Yes, and just the thought that he might someday meet Johnny Cochran or be thought of like Johnny Cochran was enough, I think. And that's what I love about the multi-dimensions of his character, is that he certainly didn't do it for the money, though it turned out to be very lucrative, but it didn't. He already had a plane and Armani suits.
A huge mansion in Florida.
Right. So it's again like some fabulously wealthy.
And he,
preacher.
in fact, was featured on Lifestyles of the Rich and
Right,
Famous,
that's right, he was.
which is referenced in the film.
Yes.
But at the point that he accepted this case, you're right, he was already extremely successful.
Yes.
And extremely wealthy.
Yes.
And had come from incredibly humble beginnings.
Oh.
And I think that's part of what we see bonding the two men, is they almost have opposite tracks where they meet. Jeremiah has inherited this family business, has grown up in wealth, has a large family, but he's facing a critical juncture in the fact that he may be bankrupt and may lose his business and may not have any legacy to leave his children and grandchildren. So he's on a different trajectory than Willie, who is, on his way up and moving from a Gulfstream to a 737 jet. And so we see them meet at this point in time, and I think that dynamic of where they were both going led to not only them developing a respect for each other, but also bonding. And we learn after the film that they in fact remained very good friends.
Yeah.
Post-trial for about 20 years before Jerry passed away.
Yeah. And I like the way she has them move from what would be the formal combat of it all. You have the little guy against the big guy, the David Goliath business, and move that into a moralistic atmosphere that isn't heavily hit on, but the racial business and so on, and the exploitation of the poor by this company is shocking. We know it happens, but I love some of the little touches. Not little is the boat that the Lowen company
CEO
the CEO has played just beautifully by Bill Campbell.
Bill Camp.
Bill Camp. Yes,
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm thinking
No
of another
problem.
film.
No, that's
Campbell.
okay.
I know. But that Bill Camp plays it different from what I might have expected. He's not the kind of guy you would hate right away. He's just kind of like a normal guy with big glasses and running a company. But the way in which Willie gets him is just classic drama.
And in fact was true
Yeah.
in the actual trial. Probably not word for word, but the point that Willie was making to the jury with Camp on the witness stand is in fact true to the trial. The other aspects of the film in terms of bringing the issue of racism.
Well, Mary, I'm going to interrupt you because you want to know something. I've been enjoying myself too much, and we're going to have to tell our audience, if they want to hear more of what Mary has to say, they're going to have to go to the WCBE podcast experience and to watch and listen to Backtalk. Mary, what do you advise our audience about the burial?
I would advise, as did my husband Bob, who finally saw the film with me.
Bob.
I would advise to see this film. It's an enjoyable courtroom thriller with really fine performances by not only the lead actors but the rest of the cast as well. You will not be disappointed.
With John DeSando and his friends online, so everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom, he's gonna let you know